for a while.
You got a Rottweiler?
Hmm? That was my Rottweiler. Yeah.
What happened to him?
That one passed away, but I got another one that's a big boy. I don't know. I got pictures of him somewhere. He's part Rottweiler and part Coonhound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just recently bought a Doberman. Yeah.
Oh.
Hello? Hello?
All right, ma'am, hang on one second, please. All right, good afternoon. The 1:30 call for the felony DUI call is in session. A couple things before we start. We are live streaming this on YouTube to comply with an accused right to a public proceeding. If you are observing this on YouTube, bear in mind that you are prohibited from recording this session. Recording this session could result in you being held in direct criminal contempt of this court. You are prohibited from recording. In this court call, this is the way it works. Everybody is in the virtual courtroom, but I'm going to ask everybody to mute themselves right now if you're not already muted. And on this court call, I have the prosecutors run the call. That's not because I have a preference for the prosecutors. They know what's ready, and they will call the cases when they are ready to proceed. So I have both Mr. Corbin and Ms. LaBeouf. Just be sure you identify yourself when you speak for our court reporter, who's also here virtually. And when the state is ready, you can begin calling cases. Thank you. Ms. LaBeouf, you're muted.
Judge, are we calling Erica Green first?
Okay.
Okay.
Ms. Green, you can unmute yourself, ma'am. Thank you.
This is 19 CF 2312, People versus Erica Green. People represented by Lisa LaBeouf. The defendant, as well as her attorney, are both present via Zoom, her attorney being Dave Weiner. This case comes before you for case management. Your Honor, we are in receipt of a pre-plea PSI, and I did forward that to Mr. Weiner as well as a case. We've had some discussions on this. So I don't know where we are today.
Mr. Weiner, good afternoon.
Hello, Judge. I just found out about a week or two ago that this PSI was done, and it was just recently emailed to me. And because I can't mail these, I have to meet with my client in person to go over it. I can tell you it's a class 4. She's met every court date, and I was going to ask to continue it off the trial call to sometime in the future, so I can sit down with her and go over the details of the PSI, and then, you know, make sure it's accurate and take it from there.
When is it on the trial call?
Well, I don't really know. The last court date was April 17th, and it was canceled.
Yeah, it was a May 4th trial call, so we've already passed it.
Okay, Mr. Weiner, would you like to set this then on your motion on the August 3rd trial date?
Yeah, is there one after that? It's just that July is going to be really crazy, I think.
Well, August isn't going to be much better. The one after that is September 14th.
Okay, can we do that?
Sure. Ms. Green, good afternoon, ma'am. I just need to check. Have you been able to hear and understand everybody so far?
Yes.
Is it your desire to have your case put all the way out until the September trial date so you can visit with Mr. Weiner and talk about your case?
Sure, that's no problem.
Okay, David, when would you like the case set in August for case management?
Would August 4th in the morning be okay?
So what's going to happen, and by then I'm going to move my Thursday call to Wednesday. So it's got to be a Wednesday. So I have the 5th, 12th, 19th, or 26th.
Okay. Judge, that's the morning of my prosecution. I hope that
Okay,
we do every Wednesday. If you want to, I'm not sure if they're going to do afternoons now or.
I could do it Tuesday afternoon.
Okay. How would August 11th in the afternoon work?
Sure.
Okay.
1:30 on August 11th for case management and pretrial. Then the matter will be set on the September 14th trial call. Ms. Green, you heard all that, ma'am?
Yes.
And you're agreeing to those dates?
Yes.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Bond is continued. We'll see you later this summer, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
I believe Mr. Corbin will be taking over now.
Chris Corbin for the state. This is 19 CF 2154. People of the state of Illinois versus John Thompson. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant present with his attorney, Mr. Schwarzbach. All parties appearing by way of Zoom conference.
Judge, good afternoon. James Schwarzbach.
Mr. Schwarzbach, how are you?
Good. Judge, Mr. Thompson is somewhere in your room. If he could unmute or ask him to unmute.
Mr. Thompson, if you're here, you can unmute yourself.
How do I go about that? Do you hear me?
No, I can hear you. You're unmuted. So,
Okay, perfect.
all right. Mr. Schwarzbach, how would you like to move forward?
Judge, I've taken a good look at the video, and I think it's a strong case for the defense. I'm going to ask to set a trial date for Mr. Thompson, but I did speak to Mr. Corbin, and we'll still be negotiating prior to that.
Okay, well, the first trial date I have is July 6th. After that, it's August 3rd. I'm not, in full disclosure, I'm not confident that those will be actual trial dates because of our ability to comply with social distancing and hold.
And Judge, Mr. Schwarzbach did indicate to me that it would be a bench trial, an indicated bench trial. So, and he indicated that he might be willing to go into August for that indicated bench trial.
Judge, we could do an indicated bench trial. I know right now we're in phase 3 in Illinois, and I know toe manicuring stores are open with less than 10 people. We could do a bench trial with less than 10 on August 3rd.
Well, we'll see if we can do a bench trial with less than 10, but I'll set it on August 3rd. And then, gentlemen, you just want to notice it up if you have something by way of negotiation.
Understood.
Yeah, absolutely. Judge, what time of day would that be, sir?
It's going to be at 9 o'clock, although I'm going to have about 50, 60 cases up that morning for trial. So I'll probably, if it's a bench, Jim, sort of fit it in when I can that week.
We'll be fine with that, sir. We'll see you on the 3rd of August at 9 o'clock and 6:11.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Judge. I'm going to leave.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm leaving your courtroom, sir.
Okay.
I'm leaving.
All right. Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Appreciate you too.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Judge, I have a couple more to call, but I would note that Mr. Wexler is ready on Cesar Aceguedo, but he needs an interpreter for that matter.
And I did call for the interpreter that I'll be joining us shortly.
Okay. Next, we have 19 CF 250, people of the state of Illinois versus Jose Salas Barragan. People by Christopher Corbin, defendant present with his attorney, Mr. Leoris. All parties present by way of Zoom conference. Matter comes before the court for pretrial.
Good afternoon, Judge. Jim Leoris present, along with my client who's sitting opposite me at my desk in my office here. If you need to see him, I'll have him walk around to the screen. He didn't know.
We'll take your word, counsel. Where are we at in the case, gentlemen?
And Judge, I did tender an offer today. I believe that we're going to be able to finalize this with the plea on the next court date if we could go out at Mr. Leoris's convenience and the court's convenience.
Mr. Leoris, I'm sorry, I didn't ask and I should have, and I don't mean any disrespect to your client,
Yes,
but
sir.
he speaks and understands English?
Yes, oh, yes.
All right, when would you like the case set for further case management?
Would July 9th work for the court? We should be able to resolve this case, I would
Yeah,
think.
it's gonna have to be a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
Tuesday or a Wednesday, okay. How about July 1? Does that give us enough time to talk, Chris? And assuming we come to an agreement, get all the paperwork done?
Certainly.
Okay, July 1,
July 1 at 1:30?
1:30, perfect.
All right, bond is continued till that court date. That'll be for further case management and presentation of a negotiation.
Thank you very much. Thank you, counsel, judge.
Yep.
I'm going to be leaving now.
All right, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I do believe we have a Spanish interpreter here now.
Oh, there we go. Yes, Orlando is on.
Okay. 17 CF 3113, people of the state of Illinois versus Cesar Aceguedo. People by Christopher Corbin, defendant present and assisted by the Spanish language interpreter and his attorney, Mr. Wexler, I believe. All parties appearing by way of Zoom conference. Your Honor, the matter comes before the court. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll let the
Yeah,
court.
I don't know what happened to our interpreter. He dropped off.
Okay.
And Mr. Pincel, is this your case?
It is, Judge.
And we need the interpreter.
I mean, I could limp through it. I'm just asking for 60 days, but I don't know what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, I need to be sure that the defendant understands what we're doing and agrees with
Okay.
what we're doing. So, not sure what happened. He might have been called to another thing, another hearing. Here we go. Well, he's coming back now. Orlando?
Hello, Judge.
Hi, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened if I removed you or.
Something kicked me out.
All right, well, I'm glad you're back. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start over, Mr. Corbin. We
Yes,
are
Judge.
using the Spanish interpreter. So if you can go very slowly and sort of chunk it so the interpreter can keep up.
Yes. This is 17 CF 3113, people of the state of Illinois versus Cesar Acegueda.
Este es el 17CF 3113, la Fiscalía del Estado de Nueva York contra César Acegueda.
People by Christopher Corbin, defendant present, assisted by the Spanish language interpreter and his attorney, Mr. Pincel.
La Fiscalía, mediante Christopher Corbin, el acusado está presente, asistido por el intérprete del idioma español y el acusado tiene también a su abogado, el señor Pincel.
The matter comes before the court for hearing on the state's petition for revocation.
El caso viene por un pedido de la Fiscalía para una audiencia por una petición de revocación.
And Judge, I believe Mr. Pincel is asking for a 60-day date. I don't know if we need to go out that far.
Juez, el señor Pincel creo que va a pedir una fecha de aquí a 60 días. No sé si necesitamos adelantarlo tanto al caso.
Mr. Pincel?
Señor Pincel.
It's a PTR. He's been testing clean. He's got to work on his fines and costs, and his treatment's done, from what I understand.
Juez, él es una petición de revocación. Él ha salido limpio sus pruebas. Tiene que trabajar un poco más en el pago de sus multas y sus horas. Creo que lo va a hacer.
So, Elliot, how about if we go out to the end of July?
¿Qué parece si continuamos esto hasta fines de julio?
Whatever you'd like, Judge.
Lo que usted prefiera, juez.
Okay, you know what? I hate to tell you guys this, but somehow our court reporter just got kicked out of the proceedings. So I'm going to have to, she's going to sign back in and we're going to have to redo all of this.
Lamento decirles esto, pero nuestra taquígrafa ha sido expulsada de nuestra reunión cibernética, así que vamos a tener que volver a hacer todo esto.
What if we send you an agreed order, Judge?
God bless you if you send me an agreed order. That's fine.
No, we're not done yet.
So Jennifer's our court reporter, and I don't see her as being present in the waiting room. So I'm guessing that she's having a hard time getting back into the call. Let me ask Orlando if you could interpret this for me.
Okay.
Sir, what was the last thing that you understood? That we were going to continue your case out to the end of July?
Señor, ¿cuál fue la última cosa que usted entendió en este procedimiento? ¿Que vamos a continuar su caso hasta fines de julio?
Okay. Sí.
Yes.
Then, gentlemen, I need to let Orlando go. Other courtrooms need him. So I'm going to just set the matter on the 28th of July at 1:30. And I will spread all this of record, Mr. Pincel, if you don't object.
That's fine. Do you want me to get an agreed order or no?
Yes.
I'll take care of it.
Judge, we
Judges-
do have a plea with an interpreter with Mr. Argetta.
Okay, and that's fine, but Orlando's got multiple places he needs to be. And we have Mr. Rataki here before Mr. Argueta, and I want to call his case and move him along.
All right, so July
Judge-
28th, 1:30 is what you've given me, right, Judge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna exit and I'll send a agreed order to you. Thank
One
you.
second, Elliot. Judge, if we could have one more thing interpreted. There, he has a pending 20 TR 10925. I'm just asking that that be set to follow this.
Tiene un caso pendiente de tráfico 20 TR 10925. Quiero que se le dé seguimiento a ese caso junto con este.
That matter is consolidated and everything will be up on the 28th at 1:30 of July.
Todo será consolidado y regresará al tribunal el día 28 de julio a la 1:30.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, thank
Gracias.
you, John.
Thanks,
Orlando,
Judge.
thanks. I'll let you know when we need you again, okay?
Okay. Thank you,
Thank
Judge.
you.
So we can't do anything until I have the reporter. So everybody sit tight. I'm going to find out what's going on with our reporter. I'm going to mute myself and turn off my screen and follow up with our court reporter. Thank you.
I don't know if you were in stop, but it was with the interpreter.
Yeah, I'll spread a record.
The interpreter, his attorney, Mr. Pinsell, the matter comes before the court for hearing on. Which one was it?
It was Salas Berrigan, I think. 28th of July. That's when I said it. Yeah. All right, back on the record, in Mr. Asageda's case, Mr. Asageda and his attorney, Mr. Pinsell, are gone. We were conducting his proceeding via Zoom. We had a technical issue that prohibited the court reporter from being part of our Zoom call. So with the interpreter on the Zoom call and off the record, the parties indicated that they would enter an agreed order continuing this matter till July 28th at 1:30. And again, Mr. Pinsell, the defendant, and Mr. Corbin were all present, and the defendant was using the interpreter. I asked the defendant if he understood that was his next court date, and he must appear he indicated that he did. So an agreed order will enter, putting this case over until that date. End of record on that case. And then, Mr. Corbin, are you ready?
Yes, I have Mr. Ataka's cases. We have 17 CF 2909, people of the state of Illinois versus Agapito Martinez. People by Christopher Corbin, defendant present with his attorney, Mr. Ataka. All parties present by way of Zoom conference. Matter comes before the court for pretrial / case management conference.
And what's the status of the case?
Judge, I know there was an issue with videos. We did request those. I believe that there might be an issue with their preservation because the matter was in warrant status for 2 years, but I'm still following up on that. At the same time, we are still also in need of a trial date.
All right, Mr. Attack, I have either July 6th, which doesn't seem like you'd be ready since you don't have all the discovery, or August 3rd.
August 3rd, Your Honor.
All right, we'll set the matter on August 3rd. What I am going to do is, given that information, I'm going to set a case management date in July 14th at 1:30. Mr. Attack, are you available?
I'm here on July 14th. Yes, sir.
July 14th, that'll be for further case management and status of discovery. Mr. Martinez, you understand all that, sir?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Judge.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Your Honor, the case has been pending for, as Mr. Corbin said, approximately 3 years. I'm going through the police reports. I don't see a waiver of preliminary hearing, and I don't see an indictment in this matter. And in terms of the video, he was, according to the police reports, he was stopped, arrested, and then just released from the scene with his children.
There was an information filed, Mr. Ataka, back on October 3rd of 2017. Let me see about a waiver.
It looks like an upgrade.
Then, of course, we have a waiver on or about sometime in late
Judge, this is Lisa LaBeouf on behalf of the state. My files indicate he waived December 9th. Mr. Ataka was present as well as the defendant.
I'm talking about October sometime in 16. October 9th, there was no enhancement on October 9th. Everything was filed on October 17th, 2017 as a class 4 felony.
Ms. LaBeouf, what are you showing?
Sir, what?
What are you, I'm sorry, my voice dropped off. What are you showing?
I'm showing that he was present in court with his attorney in bond court on December 9th. He was advised and he waived and told to appear for arraignment in January of 2020.
I have an arraignment having taken place on January 8th of 2020, on December 9th, in front of Judge Novak. I show a waiver on that date, do you? Yeah, and as does the clerk's minute. So there was apparently a waiver on 12/9/19 and an arraignment the next month. So I appreciate it's an old case. We'll see where we're at in July. And Mr. Corbin, please follow up on those videos.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Next, we have 17 CF 754, People of the State of Illinois versus Rodney Matthews. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant present with his attorney, Mr. Rataka. All parties present by way of Zoom conference.
All right, it looks like the matter is set for case management.
That's correct, Judge. This was a case that also languished in warrant status for a while. It was set for trial several times, and obviously because of the pandemic, it's been continued from time to time.
I also show there's motions to suppress a blood draw and other pretrial motions. Have those been heard yet?
They have not been, Judge.
Mr. Ataka, how would you like to proceed?
Your Honor, there's accident reconstruction expert that has to be disclosed along with his curriculum vitae. This was an accident where the defendant was found unconscious after an accident. I've been asking for that, I don't know, for a long period of time.
And Judge, there won't be one because this was not an MCAT case. There was no accident reconstruction. It was quite simply an accident, and the defendant was arrested.
Okay, so you don't have an accident reconstructionist expert?
Correct.
Okay. So how do you want to deal with your pending motions? Do you want to set a status date? I'm not sure when they're evidentiary motions, which would necessitate testimony. My guess is they would probably also involve the production of some records or documents. So do you want to set a status of hearing date and a trial date today?
That's fine. I'll set a status date.
Let's set the 21st of July at 1:30 for status. I'm sorry?
July 21st?
Yes, and we'll set it on the August 3rd trial date.
Okay.
And that's by agreement, gentlemen?
Yes, Judge.
Fine, Your Honor.
Okay, everybody then. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
And Judge, I believe we have a probation officer here on John Connor.
Robert. Close me out.
This is 19 CF 2207, People of the State of Illinois versus John Connor. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant present with his attorney, Ms. Castle. Also present from probation, Yadira, Y-A-D-I-R-A, Ramirez. All parties present by way of Zoom conference.
I don't show Mr.
I don't see my client either. I just got off the phone with him. I know he was having issues getting on. I got off the phone with him about 15 minutes ago, I'd say. I can certainly try calling him again.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Yeah, I'll give him a call right now, Judge.
Okay, we'll pass the matter.
All right, 18 CF 1272, People of the State of Illinois versus Michael Mahone. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant is present. Both parties present by way of Zoom conference. The matter comes before the court on defendant's motion. And Judge, I do not have a copy of the motion.
I'm looking for the motion. Mr. Mahone, you can unmute yourself, sir. Did you, oh, here we go, maybe. All right, so who is your attorney, Mr. Mahone? Oh, you're still muted. There you go. Sir, who was your attorney?
Attorney was Jason Stevens.
You're going to have to keep your voice up for me. You're very, very quiet.
My attorney was Jason Stevens in this case.
Okay, and is Mr. Stevens not going to represent you?
No, Your Honor.
And was Mr. Corbin, do you know if this was a fully negotiated plea?
Judge, because I don't have a copy of the motion, I was not able to pull the file in time.
Okay,
So I don't know what it's up for. I don't know any of the terms.
and you're not the PO on this, are you?
No,
Okay, all right, thanks. Who is your probation officer, sir?
Jennifer, she's a new probation officer. I was seeing Robert Lee, but then I've gotten switched and I haven't seen her yet because of the pandemic. We haven't been going in to see her, Your Honor.
Okay, so when is the wedding? So Mr. Corbin, what Mr. Mahone is asking for is permission. Well, that happened, right? So that's over.
Yes, Your Honor. The wedding has been postponed until further notice. I'm more concerned with the work issue right now.
Well, what's the issue with what's the problem with work?
So because I'm seasonal and with the pandemic, I've already lost 2 months of the season and we're on call and required to work overtime and nights sometimes. And I'm unable to do that because I'm on house arrest and we're gearing up now that we're going back to work and I'm going to lose my job because I'm unable. I have zero issues with my ankle monitor and have been on it for a year. I just want to be able to work the required hours and overnights if I'm required.
So usually, Mr. Mahone, what we do is we rely on a updated status report, written report from your probation officer, and they have an opportunity to weigh in and tell us how you've been doing compliance-wise. So when was the last time you were in contact with your probation officer?
I spoke to her on the 10th. She knew that I had court. I have a status letter from the officers in the house arrest area with me. I'm at the courthouse. I also have a letter from my work stating the schedule issues.
So what I would ask you to do then is to take all of that information to your probation officer and show it. It's a female?
Yes, her name is Jennifer.
Show it to her. And then can you call us back next Tuesday? Hang on one second, sir. Off the record for a moment, Jennifer. Next Tuesday morning is horrible, but what does the afternoon look like? Hang on one sec, okay? Thanks.
29 felonies.
And in the afternoon?
Yeah.
All right. So I would encourage you to, I'm going to set your case next Tuesday afternoon at 1:30. And that's going to be for you to reach out to your probation officer. And I'm going to also ask that probation file a written status report by that date. Bonnie, if you could make that request. In theory, I want to hear how you're doing because as long as you're complying with everything, I can give the probation officer some discretion with regard to the terms and conditions of your, terms and conditions of your curfew and things of that nature. And the state has to have an opportunity to review all that and offer an opinion as well. So I'll consider all of those things next Tuesday at 1:30, okay? But it's on you to get all this info to her.
Okay, I'll see if I can go over there today since I'm here.
I was going to make that suggestion that maybe you walk across the street and give her all that information and tell her what I'm looking for, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll see you next week, sir. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Judge.
Bye-bye.
And Ms. Castle, is that Mr. Connor?
He is, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Connor, you can unmute yourself now, sir.
This is 19 CF 2207, people of the state of Illinois versus John Connor. People by Christopher Corbin, defendant present with his attorney, Ms. Castle, also present, Ms. Yadira Ramirez from probation. All parties are present by way of Zoom conference. The matter comes before the court for pretrial. Judge, it was also passed for the state to either file or determine whether it was going to file a motion for bond review. At this time, I have spoken with Valerie Whittle, WHITTLE, from the Scram unit company. We are not filing a motion on the bond right now. We're simply asking for a trial date.
Okay, and Yadira, are you supervising?
Correct.
And are you comfortable with that?
Yes.
Okay. Then Jill, are you indicating bench or jury?
Judge, at this time, Mr. Connor is being charged with a non-probationable Class 2 offense. I am trying to work with the state to resolve this short of trial. I will be asking Mr. Corbin for a 402 to be agreeable to a 402 conference. I will continue to do that. To that end, Judge, I'm asking for a longer continued pretrial date for Mr. Connor's compliance on pretrial.
Well, I'm going to need to set a trial date. So you have then August 3rd or September 14th.
September 14th.
Okay, motion defendant?
Yes, Judge.
Motion defendant, September 14th for trial. When would you like a case management date?
I would be asking for a case management date, perhaps at the end of August or early September, whatever is good for the court.
Well, given the hiccups in pretrial, I'm not thrilled by setting a date that long. How about if we go to the beginning of August, perhaps August 4th at 1:30?
That would be fine, Judge. And I did want his pretrial officer, Yadira, present today, just in case there were any issues with the court. There was some information relayed to the court last date. I want to make the court crystal clear that there have not been any positive alcohol tests or any type of illicit substances. I just want to make that clear for the court, and if the court had any further questions for his pretrial officer at this time.
No, I mean, I appreciate you being here, Yadira. I didn't mean to give the impression last time that I didn't believe what you were telling Ms. Castle. Ms. Castle, it's not that I didn't believe you. I think if I recall this correctly, you were privy to some information that Mr. Corbin was not privy to, and he needed an opportunity to sort of reach out and get up to speed on all that. But if pretrial's comfortable with Mr. Connor and how he's doing, then that's fine by me.
Okay.
So we will see you on your next court date, sir. Bond is continued. Yadira, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
And Judge, there's a 979 number. I'm not sure who that is.
So person with the phone number ending in 6897, can you please identify who you are, please? No idea, Mr. Corbin. They're not responding.
Okay. So I see that we have Mr. Nikitas has a case, Mr. Cowell, and there's also Mr. Argueta's case, Cervantes Sierra. I don't see anyone else that is ready to be called.
Is Mr. Cervantes present? Julio, is that your client's phone number?
No.
No, Mr. Cervantes has the face mask,
I see.
but we need an interpreter in that one.
All right,
And
now-
on Mr. Cowell's case, Mr. Nikitas did text me a date, and I asked him if he was going to be present. He's in another courtroom right now that he can't leave, but I do have a date that he wants to entry a plea.
Okay, why don't you call it and spread all that of record. Mr. Cowell, you can unmute yourself, sir. Thank you.
Hi, Judge.
Good afternoon. How are you, sir?
This is
Good, how are
19
you?
CF 1209, People versus Andrew Cowell. People represented by Lisa LaBeouf. The defendant is present via Zoom. He is represented by Mr. Kiedis, who is in another courtroom at this moment. Your Honor, this case comes before you for pretrial. I've spoken to Mr. Nikitas, and he is asking for July 23rd for a plea.
All right, Mr. Cowell, are you available on, well, you know what, Lisa, that's, hang on.
Is it not a good date?
Well, let me see. No, because Thursdays in July, I'm going back to my misdemeanor DUI village call. And I'm not gonna, there are so many villages, I'm not gonna do a felony plea on that date. I can do Tuesday or Wednesday of that week.
I'm sorry, I don't have a calendar in front of me. So is it the
Tuesday
20?
the 21st or the Wednesday the 22nd?
Okay, I'm texting him right now.
And Mr. Cowell, I'm not doing this to be difficult, but I've got to keep some sort of order in my world or it all crumbles. So that's why I'm being picky.
It's okay.
It won't be for long, then.
Judge, he hasn't responded yet. I don't know if you want to pass this so we can keep moving the court call because I do see some other defendants present.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna put it on the 22nd. Is one of those days better for you, Mr. Cowell? Tuesday the 21st or Wednesday the 22nd?
I'm open for whatever is convenient with you.
Okay, I'm gonna put it on 20, thank you, I appreciate that. The 22nd of July at 1:30. That'll be for, I'll just set it for case management. If there's a plea, I'll be happy to accept the plea at that time.
Okay, I just informed Mr. Nikitas.
July 22nd at 1:30, sir, via Zoom again, okay?
Okay. Thank you,
Right,
Judge.
You're welcome, sir. I'm gonna mute.
Bye.
Bye-bye. I'm gonna mute for a minute and get our interpreter back. Thanks. Okay, Mr. Argueta, Mr. Pinate is coming. He's gonna check in a second. We'll do your plea, okay?
No problem, Judge.
They ever resolve our baseball problem or are they still negotiating?
Greed has taken over, Judge. I don't know. I don't know that we're gonna have a baseball season this year. Very disappointing.
All right, maybe we can get a bar association wiffle ball league going.
Yeah, well, I don't think the place. Oh. The Julio White Sox. There you go. I got the team name.
You can do better.
Ah.
Judge, before we call this, I had sent the plea paperwork, and because we were amending a count, I filed a new count because I was told that's how we're supposed to do it since I can't amend anything on its face.
There was not a count to begin with.
I'm looking through the paperwork now, Lisa. Bear with me.
It should be count 3.
Yeah, the paperwork is to plead to count 3, now they count 1 and 2.
All right, so I have a count 3 of 3. So what are you saying, Bonnie?
There was not a count 3 before today.
Right, so you're asking leave to file account 3 first, correct, Lisa?
Yes.
And then, Mr. Argueta, you are gonna waive, before we call the case, here's Orlando. You're gonna waive a formal arraignment and your client will be entering a plea to that offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So give me 1 second. Now watch Orlando won't be able to get in like you, Jennifer.
Unreal. It's unusual.
So it's, Ms. LaBeouf, just out of an abundance of caution, it is a new charge to section small d parentheses, the number 1 parentheses, large H, correct? So that makes us a class 4.
It's the ag DUI based upon not possessing a valid driver's license.
Right. So it goes from the enhanced due to priors to the enhanced for not having a valid DL, correct?
His original charges, count 1 and 2, were based upon great bodily harm.
Okay.
So this was never based upon priors. It was just based on bodily harm.
Okay. And your victim's comfortable with this?
Yes, Judge, we did review the plea with them and they were satisfactory to the terms on this case.
Okay. Orlando, are you there? So it looks like he's connecting. We'll give him a minute. Hope this works. There he is. Orlando, can you hear us?
I can, Judge.
All right, so guys, this is a plea, which means necessarily it's going to move like a glacier. So go slow, chunk everything for Orlando, give him a fighting chance to keep up.
That's good. This is 19 CF 1863, People versus Jose Cervantes Sierra. People represented by Lisa LaBeouf.
19 CF 1863, caso de la Fiscalía contra José Luis Cervantes de Vera. La Fiscalía está presente mediante Lisa LaBeouf.
The defendant is present via Zoom, as well as his attorney, Julio Argueta.
El acusado está presente mediante Zoom, al igual que su abogado Julio Argueta.
And we're also joined by a Spanish interpreter for the defendant.
Y también tenemos un intérprete del español para el acusado.
Judge, we have a negotiation for your consideration.
Okay,
Pues tenemos una negociación para su consideración.
before we go further, Mr. Cervantes Sierra, good afternoon.
Antes de proceder, señor Cervantes, buenas tardes.
Can you hear and understand our interpreter?
¿Puede usted escuchar y entender a nuestro intérprete?
Sí.
Yes.
If at any point you cannot hear him,
Si en algún momento no lo puede escuchar
or you do not understand,
o no entiende,
please interrupt.
por favor, indíquenoslo.
I need to know that you understand what you're pleading guilty to today. Do you understand?
Yo necesito saber que usted sí entiende a lo que usted se declara culpable el día de hoy. ¿Entiende usted?
Sí.
Yes.
Additionally, sir, I'm going to hold up a form for the camera. Hopefully you can see it. It's the right to be physically present form.
Adicionalmente, señor, voy a poner un formulario frente a la cámara. Ojalá usted lo pueda ver. Es un formulario que indica que tiene derecho a estar presente.
Sí.
Did you review
Yes.
and sign that form?
¿Usted lo revisó y firmó ese formulario?
Sí.
Yes.
Do you have any questions about that form?
¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta sobre ese formulario?
No.
Do you understand that you have the right to be physically present in the courtroom
¿Entiende usted que tiene derecho a estar físicamente presente dentro del juzgado?
and that you have the right to physically confront through counsel your accuser?
Y que tiene derecho a enfrentarse estando presente en el tribunal a su acusador. ¿Lo entiende?
Sí.
Yes.
Do you also understand that due to the COVID pandemic, we, in order to keep you and court personnel safe, are proceeding via video teleconference?
Y usted entiende que debido a la pandemia del COVID, para mantenerlo usted y el resto del personal seguros, estamos procediendo mediante una conferencia cibernética del sistema de Zoom. ¿Lo entiende?
Sí, sí, entiendo.
Yes, I understand.
Are you agreeing to proceed in this fashion?
¿Está usted de acuerdo con proceder de esta manera?
Sí.
Yes.
And thank you, sir.
Gracias, señor.
Ms. LaBeouf, are you seeking leave this afternoon to file a count 3?
Yes,
Señora,
Judge, we're seeking leave to, oh, sorry.
pide permiso para presentar la acusación del cargo 3.
Yes, Judge, count 3 would be the aggravated DUI based upon no valid driver's license.
Sí, juez, el cargo 3 sería manejar en estado de embriaguez con agravantes, basándonos en que no tiene una licencia válida.
And Mr. Argueta, are you objecting and are you waiving a formal arraignment and a formal reading of the new charge?
We're not objecting and we're waiving any formal arraignment and swearing in of the indictment or the charge.
Y señor Argueta, ¿usted renuncia o protesta en contra de la presentación de este cargo y renuncia a una lectura formal de los cargos? No protestamos y renunciamos a cualquier derecho a una lectura formal del nuevo cargo.
Very well. Sir, you are charged with a new count of aggravated driving while under the influence of alcohol.
Señor, usted ha sido se le ha presentado un cargo nuevo por manejar con agravantes bajo la influencia del alcohol.
That offense is a class 4 felony.
Delito clase 4 mayor.
It carries with it the possibility of 1 to 3 years in the Department of Corrections,
Lleva en sí la posibilidad de 1 o 3 años en el departamento correccional,
followed by a period of 1 year of mandatory supervised release or parole.
seguido por un periodo de supervisión mandatoria durante 1 año o libertad condicional.
If eligible, you could receive an extended sentence of 6 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections.
Si fuera elegible, usted pudiera recibir hasta una sentencia extendible de 6 años en el departamento correccional.
You could also receive sentences of probation or conditional discharge for a period of up to 30 months.
También puede recibir sentencias de probación o descargo condicional por un periodo de hasta 30 meses.
And you could be required to serve a period of local incarceration for up to 18 months.
Y puede que se le exija que cumpla un periodo de encarcelamiento local por hasta 18 meses.
Do you understand all of that?
¿Entiende usted todo esto? ¿Perdón?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. What is the negotiation, folks?
¿Cuál es la negociación?
Count 1 and 2 will be dismissed as well as the minor traffic violations.
Los cargos 1 y 2, al igual que las violaciones menores de tráfico, serán retiradas.
He will plead guilty to count 3.
Se declara culpable al cargo 3.
It'll be 24 months probation on the class 4.
24 meses de probación por delito clase 4.
$750 fine plus court costs.
$750 de multa más el costo del tribunal.
$500 donation to the Children's Advocacy Center.
$500 de contribución a Centro de Consejería de Menores.
An open mandate for probation for treatment.
Y obligación con el departamento probacional para que se haga el tratamiento.
Substance abuse evaluation and follow recommendations.
Que siga las recomendaciones del tratamiento de abuso de sustancias.
No alcohol, no bars or liquor establishments, no cannabis, no illegal drugs.
No puede usar alcohol, establecimientos donde la venta del alcohol sea lo primordial, no usar cáñamo de marihuana ni drogas ilegales.
Random testing.
Pruebas al azar.
Live victim impact panel.
Presentación de víctimas en vivo.
150 hours of public service.
150 horas de servicio público.
No driving without a valid driver's license.
No manejes si no tienes licencia válida.
And Judge, for the court's reference, all restitution is being handled by a civil attorney.
Y para la información del tribunal, todas las cuestiones restantes de las multas serían designadas, resueltas por un abogado civil.
Hold on, Mr. Buck, was that
Un momento, señora
in
Leboeuf.
cooperation with the complaining witness in this case?
No, that's just for the court's reference because this does involve an accident. So I wanted the court to be aware we weren't seeking restitution.
No, esto se hace para que lo sepa usted como juez, ya que no hubo contacto con la persona que hizo la queja en el caso para proceder de esa manera.
It's not tied to this plea.
I appreciate that it's not tied to the plea, but when you discuss this with the complaining witness,
Entiendo que esto no está atado a este acuerdo negociado, pero cuando usted habló con la persona que hizo la queja,
was that explained to them?
¿se le explicó eso?
Their civil attorney and the victim both said that they will handle it all and don't want it attached to the criminal case.
Su abogado dijo que no quería que esto estuviera vinculado o atado a este caso, al caso penal.
Was that the total of the negotiation?
¿Ese es el total de la negociación? Sí, juez.
And Mr. Argueta, is that your understanding of the terms and conditions of the plea?
Señor Argueta, ¿ese es su entendimiento del acuerdo? Sí, lo es.
Mr. Cervantes Sierra, is that your understanding of the plea?
Señor Cervantes Sierra, ¿ese sí es su entendimiento del acuerdo negociado?
Sí.
Yes.
Sir, do you understand that you don't have to plead guilty?
Señor, ¿usted entiende que no se tiene que declarar culpable?
You can persist in your plea of not guilty, demand a trial, and make the state prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Usted puede persistir en su declaración de no culpable, exigir un juicio y obligar a la fiscalía a que lleve el caso a juicio.
Do you understand that?
¿Entiende usted?
Sí.
Yes.
Do you also understand that you can plead guilty, but you do not have to agree to a sentence?
Usted también entiende que se puede declarar culpable, pero no tiene que estar de acuerdo con una sentencia específica. ¿Lo entiende?
You can enter into what's called an open plea or a blind plea.
Usted puede hacer una declaración a ciegas o un acuerdo de culpabilidad abierto.
Do you understand that?
¿Entiende usted?
Sí.
Yes.
An open plea means you plead guilty in front of me, and we hold a sentencing hearing, and we order a pre-sentence investigation.
Un acuerdo abierto de culpabilidad quiere decir que usted se declara culpable ante mi persona y yo designo una audiencia y se hace una investigación previa a la sentencia. ¿Lo entiende usted?
Sí.
Yes.
Essentially, by pleading guilty, you're waiving your right to that pre-sentence investigation and that sentencing hearing, and you're agreeing to a sentence. Do you understand that?
Esencialmente, al renunciar a ese derecho, usted renuncia a su derecho a que se haga una investigación previa a la sentencia y usted se compromete a aceptar el acuerdo que se ha hecho.
Sí.
Yes.
Going to hold up for you to see this form. Hopefully you can see it. It's called Waiver of Trial. It's written in Spanish. Did you review that form, sir?
Voy a levantar este formulario, ojalá usted lo pueda ver, se llama renuncia a juicio. ¿Usted revisó este documento, señor?
Sí.
Yes.
And did you review that with counsel?
¿Usted lo revisó con su abogado?
Sí.
Yes.
By signing that form, you're telling me that you wish to waive a number of individual rights.
Al firmar ese formulario, usted me indica que usted anula o renuncia a una serie de derechos individuales.
You're waiving your right to persist in your plea of not guilty,
Usted renuncia a su derecho a persistir en su declaración de no culpable,
rely on the presumption of innocence,
de depender en que se asuma que es inocente,
hold the state to their burden of proof, which is beyond a reasonable doubt,
obligar a los fiscales a cumplir con su obligación de mostrar las pruebas más allá de una duda razonable.
you're waiving your right to confront any witness that's called to testify against you,
Renuncia a su derecho a testificar contra cualquier testigo que pudiera venir a testificar contra usted.
you're waiving your right to call witnesses to testify on your own behalf,
Renuncia a su derecho a llamar a algún testigo para que testifique a su favor.
and you're waiving the right not to be forced to testify against yourself.
Y usted renuncia al derecho a que no se le obligue a que testifique en contra de sí mismo.
Do you understand that you're waiving and giving up all those rights?
¿Entiende usted que usted renuncia y anula todos esos derechos?
Sí.
Yes.
Is that what you want to do?
¿Eso es lo que usted desea hacer?
Sí.
Yes.
Do you understand that you're pleading guilty to a term of probation?
¿Usted entiende que se declara culpable para recibir un término de probación?
And that term of
Yes.
probation is for 24 months.
Y ese término de probación será 24 meses. Yes.
Do you understand that if you violate any term of that probation,
¿Usted entiende que si usted viola cualquiera de los términos de esa aprobación
and the state can prove to me that you violated it,
y la fiscalía me puede probar que usted sí lo violó,
I could revoke this sentence
puedo revocarle la sentencia
and I could re-sentence you from 1 to 3 years up to 6 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections,
o puedo resentenciarlo hasta un periodo de unos 3 años en el departamento correccional. ¿Lo entiende usted?
followed by 1
Yes.
year of mandatory supervised release of parole.
Seguido por un año de supervisión mandatoria o libertad condicional. ¿Lo entiende?
Do you understand that?
¿Entendió,
Sí.
señor? Yes.
Do you also understand that I could revoke your sentence and extend it and place you on intensive probation for up to 30 months?
También entiende que puedo revocar su sentencia y extenderla y ponerlo en probación intensiva por hasta 30 meses. ¿Lo entiende?
I could
Sí.
refine
Yes.
you up to $25,000.
Puedo remultarlo hasta $25,000.
Sí.
Yes.
And I could order that you serve up to 18 months of periodic imprisonment for
Y
local incarceration.
puedo ordenar que usted cumpla con un periodo de hasta 18 meses de encarcelamiento periódico o encarcelamiento local, ¿lo entiende?
Sí.
Yes.
Has anybody forced you or threatened you to make you plead guilty?
¿Alguien lo ha forzado o lo han amenazado para que usted se declare culpable?
No.
No.
Has anybody promised you anything other than this negotiation to trick you or entice you into pleading guilty?
¿Alguien le ha prometido algo por aparte de esta negociación para tratar de engatusarlo o manipularlo a que acepte esta declaración?
No.
No.
You should have had plenty of time to go over this with Mr. Argueta. Did he talk about your case and all of your options?
Usted debió haber tenido suficiente tiempo para haber hablado de esto con el señor Argueta. Usted habló con él de su caso y todas las opciones que usted tenía.
Sí.
Yes.
And did he give you his advice?
¿Y él te dio su consejo?
Sí.
Yes.
Are you considering that advice?
¿Estás considerando el consejo que él te dio?
Sí.
Yes.
And are you pleading guilty because you believe it's in your best interest to do so?
¿Y te declaras culpable porque sí opinas que está en tus mejores intereses el hacerlo?
Sí.
Yes.
And are you admitting to me that on the date and time in question,
¿Y usted admite ante mí que en el día y la fecha de esta cuestión,
you operated a motor vehicle on a public way
usted operó un vehículo en una carretera pública
at such time that your ability to drive that car was impaired
en un momento en el que su capacidad para operar tal vehículo estaba incapacitada
and that you did not have a valid Illinois driver's license?
y que usted no tenía una licencia válida de conducir de Illinois? ¿Lo admite?
Sí.
Yes.
Ms. LaBeouf, what would the facts be?
Señora LaBeouf, ¿cuáles son los hechos?
Officer Carson from the Buffalo Grove Police Department
El oficial Carson del Departamento Policial de Buffalo Grove
would testify that on November 7th, 2018,
testificaría que el 7 de noviembre de 2018,
around 5 p.m.,
como a las 5 p.m.,
this defendant
está acusado
driving northbound on Milwaukee Avenue
manejando hacia el norte en la avenida Milwaukee.
crossed the center lane concrete median
Cruzó el intermediario de concreto en el carril central
onto oncoming traffic and struck a vehicle being driven by Barry Curtis.
metiéndose contra el tráfico que venía en dirección opuesta y golpeando el vehículo manejado por Barry Curtis.
The defendant was treated for several injuries from that crash,
El acusado recibió tratamiento por varias lesiones debido a ese choque
and a medical blood draw showed he had a .191 blood alcohol level.
y un retiro de sangre que se le hizo mostró que tenía una concentración de alcohol de 0.191 de alcohol en su sangre.
Barry Curtis did sustain injuries,
Barry Curtis sí tuvo lesiones
and his two kids in the car had small cuts and abrasions on their body.
y los dos niños en su coche tuvieron cortadas y marcas en su cuerpo.
And for purposes of this plea, at the time of the offense,
Y para propósitos de este acuerdo, en el momento del delito,
the defendant did not possess a valid driver's license.
el acusado no poseía una licencia válida de conducir.
So stipulated, Judge.
Se estipula y se admite, juez.
Was there any prior criminal history, Ms. LaBeouf?
Un historial previo de antecedentes penales, señora LaBeouf.
Judge, just traffic offenses, minor, petty ones.
Cuestiones multables, infracciones menores de tráfico solamente.
Nothing involving alcohol, though.
No,
Nada
Judge.
involucrando alcohol, no, juez.
Sir, you're a lucky man.
Señor, usted es un hombre afortunado.
This could have been a much more significant case if those people were seriously hurt or, God forbid, killed.
Señor, este caso podría haber sido mucho más serio si esas personas hubiesen sido seriamente lesionados o aún fallecido.
Do you understand and appreciate that?
¿Usted entiende y aprecia ese hecho?
Sí.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to make the following findings.
Voy a tomar las siguientes decisiones.
That the defendant has made a knowing, intelligent, and voluntary waiver of his right to a trial by a judge or a jury.
Que el acusado ha hecho una renuncia libre, inteligente y consciente de su derecho de ir a juicio ante un juez o un jurado.
That he understands the nature and consequences of his plea of guilty.
Que entiende la naturaleza y las consecuencias de su declaración de culpabilidad.
And he's persisted in that plea.
Y que persiste en tal declaración.
that an adequate factual basis exists in support of the new count 3,
que existen hechos para apoyar el nuevo cargo 3
that the defendant has admitted in open court to that conduct.
y que el acusado ha admitido abiertamente en el tribunal tal
And
conducta.
I'm sorry, Orlando. And as a result of all of that,
Y como resultado de todo eso,
I do believe there is sufficient evidence to believe beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant committed this class 4 felony.
creo que existe suficiente evidencia para pensar que más allá de una duda razonable, el acusado sí cometió este delito clase 4 mayor.
I accept the negotiation.
Acepto la negociación.
Sir, I'm going to hold up as best I can for you to see the written sentencing order. Did you review that order with your attorney?
Señor, voy a levantar lo más que pueda la orden de la sentencia. ¿Usted revisó esta orden con su abogado?
Sí.
Yes.
Did he go over that plea and that order with him?
¿Usted revisó el acuerdo y la orden en sí junto con su abogado?
Sí.
Yes.
Do you understand all the terms and conditions of that order?
¿Usted entiende todos los términos y condiciones de esa orden?
Sí.
Yes.
Then for the record on that sentencing order, Ms. LaBeouf, Mr. Argueta, you can see up at the top, I crossed out the language saying it was amended to. So it just lists the section of the statute that count 3 refers to in the body. Any objection?
Señora Argueta, señora LaBeouf, como pueden ver, he tachado la parte que dice que ha sido alterada la orden que refleja que, que era delito clase 3. Lo pueden ver ustedes en tal documento y tienen alguna objeción.
Any objection, State?
¿Alguna objeción, Fiscalía?
Defense?
No, Judge.
Defensa. No, juez.
Objection.
Okay.
No hay objeción, no hay protestas.
Very well, then on page 1, paragraphs 1 through 13, and all handwritten additions are in effect.
Bien, en la página 1, del párrafo 1 al 13, todas las adiciones son convalidadas.
On page 2, the remainder of paragraph 13 and paragraph 14 will be in full force and effect.
Y en la página 2, el resto del párrafo 13 y el párrafo 14 serán convalidados en su totalidad.
On page 3, paragraph 20,
En página 3, párrafo 20,
requiring the defendant to perform 150 public service hours at the rate of 8 hours per month.
que requiere que el acusado haga 150 horas de servicio comunitario, haciendo 8 al mes.
On page 4, paragraph 24,
Página 4, párrafo 24,
which requires the defendant to attend the live victim impact panel
que requiere que el acusado asista a la presentación de víctimas en vivo
and obtain a substance abuse evaluation and follow treatment.
y obtenga una evaluación de abuso de sustancias y siga las recomendaciones de tratamiento.
That will be in effect.
Eso será convalidado.
As will paragraph 25,
Ahora que el párrafo 25,
requiring the defendant to be assessed by probation.
requiriendo que el acusado sea evaluado por probación.
Paragraph 28
Párrafo 28,
will be in effect.
será convalidado.
This case is assigned to the DUI unit of the probation department.
Este caso será enviado a la unidad de casos de conductores ebrios del departamento probacional.
The first 2 counts are dismissed, as are the traffic offenses.
Los 2 primeros casos son retirados, al igual que la multa de tráfico.
That's spelled out in paragraph 30.
Eso es indicado en el párrafo 30.
And all other checked paragraphs will be in full force and effect.
Y todos los otros párrafos serán convalidados y puestos en efecto.
Holding up Exhibit B, assigning your case to the probation department. You reviewed that and signed that as well, sir?
Le muestro la muestra de evidencia B que lo lleva este caso al departamento probacional. ¿Usted revisó ese documento y lo firmó, señor?
Sí.
Yes.
And that's specifically to the DUI unit.
Entonces, específicamente para la unidad de conductores ebrios del departamento probacional, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
And Mr. Argueta, the assessments in this case total $5,534.
Sí, señor Argueta, la totalidad de las multas designadas en este caso totalizan $5,534.
When you apply all the credits,
Cuando se aplican todos los créditos,
that total goes to $4,654.
ese total baja a $4,654.
Are you and your client waiving his right to a hearing on those assessments?
¿Usted y su cliente anulan su derecho a una audiencia por esas designaciones del tribunal?
We are, Judge.
Lo hacemos, juez.
And sir, you think you'll have the ability to satisfy that financial obligation in the next 24 months?
Y señor, ¿usted cree que tendrá la habilidad para satisfacer esa obligación financiera en los próximos 24 meses? Yes.
Okay. And that will be the financial sentencing order in the case.
Esa es la orden de la sentencia del caso.
And the defendant, I will accept the waiver of the right to a hearing.
Y aceptaremos su renuncia a una audiencia.
Finally, sir, your attorney is asking that the balance of the bond less the 10% that the county takes be returned to him for his legal services. Is that what you would like me to do?
Señor, aparte, su abogado ha pedido que lo que queda de la fianza, menos el 10% con el que se queda el tribunal, vaya hacia él para sus honorarios legales. ¿Esto es lo que usted quiere que yo autorice? Yes.
All right, then that order will be entered, excuse me.
Esa orden será autorizada entonces.
All right, sir, do you have any questions about anything?
Señor, ¿tiene alguna pregunta usted sobre cualquier otra cosa?
No.
No.
Since this was presented as a fully negotiated plea,
Ya que esto fue puesto como un acuerdo completamente negociado,
there is nothing for you to appeal.
no hay nada para que usted apele.
However, you do have the right to ask to withdraw this plea of guilty.
Usted sí tiene derecho, sin embargo, a retirar este acuerdo de culpabilidad.
In order to do that, you must state in writing all the legal reasons why I should allow you to withdraw this plea.
Ahora, para poder hacer eso, usted tiene que poner por escrito todas las razones legales por las cuales yo debo permitirle que usted retire este acuerdo.
And file that pleading with this court within the next 30 days.
Y tiene que presentar esa declaración ante este tribunal en no más de 30 días.
If you filed that pleading,
Si usted presenta ese pedido de apelación,
I would set it for hearing.
yo designaré una fecha para que vaya a audiencia.
I would listen to what you had to say.
Escucharía lo que usted tiene que decir.
And if I agreed with you,
Y si estoy de acuerdo con usted,
I would vacate your plea of guilty.
yo anularía su declaración de culpabilidad.
And on the motion of the state's attorney,
Y por moción de la fiscal,
all the charges that were dismissed would be reinstated.
todos los casos que fueron retirados serían regresados.
And those charges would be set for trial.
Y esos cargos serían designados para juicio.
If I denied your motion to withdraw your plea of guilty,
Ahora, si yo le niego su moción de pedir que se retire su acuerdo de culpabilidad,
you could appeal that decision.
puedes apelar esa decisión.
You would have to file a notice of appeal
Tendrías que presentar una apelación secundaria
within 30 days of the date that I denied your motion to withdraw your plea of guilty
en no más de 30 días después de que yo le negué la moción original
with the appellate court.
con el Tribunal de Apelaciones.
If you couldn't afford or if you needed an attorney
Si usted no puede pagar o si necesita un abogado,
or a transcript of the proceedings,
un expediente de los procedimientos aquí,
I would provide those things to you at no cost
yo se los otorgaría a usted sin cobro
to assist you with the review,
para ayudarle con la revisión,
the preparation,
preparación,
the filing,
presentación
and the hearing on any of those motions.
y la audiencia en cualquiera de esas mociones.
Sir, do you understand the rights you've given up?
Señor, ¿usted entiende los derechos que usted ha renunciado?
The sentence which has been imposed
La sentencia que se impuso. Yes.
and your rights to withdraw and appeal.
Y sus derechos de retirar el caso y de apelar, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, good luck to you, sir. And Julio, by way of just a reminder, he can do his intake, I think, over the phone at probation, and he needs to get that evaluation done within 30 days of today's date. You
We'll
understand?
get right on it, Your Honor.
Okay.
Judge, Mr. Argan and I were talking. You may have already said this, and I probably lost
Hold on.
count.
Lo siento.
We're like flying by Orlando.
I was going to ask if this was on the record, Judge.
Yeah.
Tienes 30 días para hacerte tu evaluación, señor Cervantes. Se le mencionó esto a su abogado.
Okay, so Ms. LaBeouf, ask your question.
If he was advised of his immigration rights, I'm not sure if I heard that.
Sus derechos
in
como
any-
inmigrantes, si es que fueron mencionados, no estoy segura si escuché algo al
I
respecto.
did not. I probably recklessly assumed that at some point Judge Johnson, or I usually do that on arraignment, but I'll do it now. Sir,
Usualmente
if you are
asumí,
not a
señor,
citizen
si usted no es ciudadano
or a legal resident of the United States,
o residente legal de los Estados Unidos, yes,
let me do it this way. Julio, do I need
se
to
lo
make
estamos-
this advisal?
I have already reviewed with him potential immigration consequences or ramifications of this plea and how it could affect his status, Judge. I have reviewed that with him.
Yo ya revisé con él, su señoría, las posibles consecuencias, ramificaciones de un acuerdo de culpabilidad. Yo lo he revisado con él.
So he is aware that it could affect, but no promises have been made.
Él se le ha dicho que pudiera afectarlo, pero no se ha hecho ningún tipo de promesa.
So you understand there could be an immigration consequence to
Usted
your
entiende
plea of guilty.
que puede haber una consecuencia de inmigración a su declaración de culpabilidad. ¿Lo entiende usted?
Sí.
Yes.
And you were aware of that when you entered into this agreement with the state's attorney, is that correct?
Y usted sabía esto cuando usted hizo este acuerdo con la fiscalía, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
It's entirely up to the federal government. It's entirely up to immigration as to whether or not they seek deportation. Do you understand?
Depende completamente del gobierno federal, depende completamente de inmigración de ellos, sí o no van a buscar una deportación. ¿Lo entiende usted?
Sí.
Yes.
And you also understand that this plea of guilty could make it difficult, if not impossible, for you to obtain legal citizenship in the future. Do you understand that?
Y usted entiende que esta declaración de culpabilidad puede que haga que sea difícil, si no imposible, que usted tenga ciudadanía en un futuro. ¿Lo entiende usted?
Sí.
Yes.
Finally, Mr. Argueta, normally we have the defendant sign the cost sheet, but obviously he didn't in these circumstances, which is why I went over the financial sentencing order with him. Are you asking that the court accept that cost sheet?
Yes, I am, Judge.
Hold on.
Señora Argueta, usualmente yo hago que las personas firmen la lámina de los costos en el tribunal, pero debido a las circunstancias, ¿está usted pidiendo que yo acepte esta declaración de los costos tal y como está?
Yes, I am, Judge, especially in light of the fact that he did sign the financial sentencing order.
Sí, juez, especialmente tomando en cuenta que él sí firmó la orden de la sentencia financiera.
Okay, so I'm going to add to that the defendant acknowledged in open courts his obligation with regard to costs and assessments.
Bien, voy a añadir que el acusado admitió abiertamente en el tribunal sus obligaciones hacia las cuestiones financieras.
And is that what you want me to do, sir?
Es lo que usted quiere que yo haga, ¿verdad, señor?
Sí.
Yes.
All right.
Bien.
Anything else, guys?
¿Algo más? Es todo.
All right. Sir, good luck to you. Orlando, thank you very much.
You're welcome, George. Buena suerte, señor.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
You too, Julio. Take care.
This is Chris Corbin for the state. This is 19 CF 531, 19 CM 1431. People of the state of Illinois versus Fred Stark. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant present with his attorney, Ms. Castle. All parties present by way of Zoom. I'm not sure if Mr. Margolin is present.
He is not. I spoke to him. I'm going to let him know the next date.
And Judge, it appears that the defendant has been doing very well on probation. Probation is recommending a change in the negotiation path that we had been on. I still need to have contact with the victim on the 19 CM. Her number was disconnected. So I'm asking for about a 1 month date to bring some finality to these cases.
Mr. Stark, can you hear us okay, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How are you? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's good morning somewhere. So you were right, both.
Well, okay.
Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go, Jill?
A 30-day date, Judge.
How about the 15th of July?
Thank
at
you.
1:30?
That should be fine.
And if Mr. Corbin can just keep me informed of the negotiation, I know it's going to be a global resolution, so that I can discuss that as well.
Okay, very well. So, Mr. Stark, we'll see you then on July 15th at 1:30, again on Zoom. Okay, sir?
Yes, sir. You have a great day.
Good to you. Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Why can't everybody be that polite?
This next case, 18 CF 2384, 19 CF 624, people of the state of Illinois versus Shante Polk. People by Christopher Corbin. I do not believe the defendant is present. The matter comes before the court for arraignment on the state's petition for revocation.
Any word on your clients?
This was originally a Mr. Ritaka case.
Oh.
I did speak with his office this afternoon. They indicated that they had not spoken with Mr. Polk or heard from him in quite some time, and they were not planning to continue their appearance on the petition.
Well, I've got an August 26, 2019 notice. So was there a more recent notice? Yeah.
I'm not sure if the case has been up more recently than that.
Let me check with Bonnie.
Was that the last court date?
We'll find
Or
out.
what?
Warrant issued in September of 2019, and then it was crossed in bond court in March.
Oh, so this is one of the COVID lottery winners. A bench warrant issued in September of 2019, and then it was quashed in March when the jail was not accepting warrants. So, Chris, I think on an abundance of caution, you're better off re-noticing, and I can give you a date if you want.
The only issue is, okay, so I was told this morning that there was going to be a change in our petitions to revoke. So this will still be allowed by the court, correct?
Yeah, no, I mean, I would say pick a day for notice and PTR hearing.
Okay.
And a corresponding motion for an in-person hearing. And I'd be inclined to grant it.
Okay, if we could just go to that, the 15th of July, Judge, just so I can get all the ducks in a row.
Is that going to be enough time, or do you need the 22nd rather?
The 22nd that would be great.
Yeah, I think it just gives you a little more time. Let's go to 6/22, and then you can file your notice and send over your motion for a in-person hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And we have 19 CF 477, people of the state of Illinois versus James Foster. People by Christopher Corbin. I'm not sure if the 979 number is Mr. Foster or not. They might be just a watcher.
Yeah, I've asked and they did not identify themselves, so.
So this matter comes before the court for arraignment on the state's petition for revocation. The only allegation being financials, Your Honor.
We don't have this file. So, and I don't have it on my call, but that doesn't mean that it isn't. What's the number, Chris?
19 CF 477.
I have 820.
It's on August 20th. Chris, that's on the August 20th call.
Oh, we can still call it today, Judge.
We can?
I'm joking.
Okay.
Anything else, Bonnie?
No, I don't have anything else.
We did Matthews and Mahone. Great. I have those on my call.
We're all set.
Hold on, let's just,
What's the case number?
18 CF 1272
Yes, we did that.
and 17 CF 754.
Yes.
Okay, looks like that's a wrap, guys.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
We're good.
Anything from you, Lisa, from him? You good?
Nope, we're good.
Okay, thanks. Everybody have a good day.
You too.
All right.
See you
See you
later.
next week.
Bye-bye.